Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Torah Clicks, where I try to give you something worthwhile to click on. So I'm continuing in our Mesillas Yesharim Shiur. This is Mirz Hashem, the 8th Shiur that we're giving on the Hakdama of the Ramchal to the Mesillas Yesharim. And again, I always stress that the Hakdama, even though it's only a preface to the Sefer, but it's an integral part of the Sefer of Mesillas Yesharim. So when we last got together, the Mesillas Yesharim was explaining to us the great need that we have to study Musar, to study Yiras Hashem and Ahavas Hashem. And he made the startling statement. He said, how will we answer on the day of judgment if we don't study these things, how important they are? And he mentioned we spend time on other things that really, how valuable are they? What is their worth? We spend so much time in our lives on all sorts of pursuits that ultimately they don't have any great value to them. And yet, the topic of Ma Hashem Shayamei Machkim L'Yirah, the topic of Yiras Shamayim, the topic of Avodas Hashem, which is our true tafkid in life, that somehow we don't seem to spend so much time on. And now, the Ramchal continues on that theme, and he says, Im lo nistakalnu, if we do not look, v'lo iyanu, and we do not study, Maihi Hayira Ha'amitis, what is true Yiras Shamayim? If we don't take the time to study what constitutes true Yiras Shamayim, Uma Anofeha, and what are its branches or its offshoots? We talk about Yiras Shamayim, but like I mentioned in the last shiur, what exactly is Yiras Shamayim? If we translate it literally, fear of heaven. Like we said, is that what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants? Is that the Rebbeinu Shalom just wants a fearful relationship? Is it that simple? That's what Yiras Shamayim means? Yiras Shamayim is far more complex than that. Yiras Shamayim is awe. Yiras Shamayim is a reverence. Yiras Shamayim is Yiras HaRoimamus, a fear and an awe and a reverence that's born out of Roimamus, out of recognizing the tremendous godless, not the tremendous power of the Rebbeinu Shalom, not the might of the Rebbeinu Shalom, that he could strike you if you do what he doesn't want, but the Roimamusai, the greatness of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Look up at the Shamayim and be awestruck at the stars and at the constellations. Walk around in the world and look at a tree and look at the complexity of the Bria. Look in your life and realize everything that the Rebbeinu Shalom does and the Hashgacha Pratis of the world, and even just in your own day-to-day life. Look at the wonders of the human body. Look at the family that you have. Look at the complexity of life. This is all the Rebbeinu Shalom is doing. The Rebbeinu Shalom is the Borei Umani, the one who creates everything and guides and controls everything. Can you even begin to imagine the Roimamus, the greatness of the Rebbeinu Shalom? And that makes you awestruck. That's more of what Yira is. But this 2 minutes of saying Yira, that doesn't even come close to scratching the surface of Yira. So if we do not study what is Yira Ha'amitis, if we don't study what true Yiras Shamayim is, Uma Anofeha, and what its branches are, what are the offshoots of Yiras Shamayim? Once you study the topic of Yiras Shamayim and you inculcate in yourself Yiras Shamayim, that has tremendous ramifications on your life. What are the offshoots of Yiras Shamayim? Once you understand Yiras Shamayim, once you contemplate Yiras Shamayim, and you imbue yourself with Yiras Shamayim, how does that affect your life? How does that affect the way you think? How does that affect the way you live your life? How does it affect your interpersonal relationships with other people? How does it affect your davening? How does it affect your shmiras hamitzvahs? How does it affect all of your decision making in your entire life? If we don't study the topic, how will we acquire it? Does this sound like something that's going to fall into your head by itself? It's like if an actuary would come over to you and he would start telling you all the complex mathematical studies that he had to go through in order to become an actuary, and statistics and mathematics and algorithms and everything else. You would look at it, you would understand right away. Obviously, you need to study these things. You need to hit the books if you want to understand them. Nobody's going to think that these are things that are going to come into your mind by themselves. So too, says the Ramchal, is the study, is true understanding of Yiras Shamayim, is that just going to fall into your head without study? Certainly not. And more than that, he says, Ve'eich nimlat min hahevel ha'olami, how will we escape the nonsense of this world, the hevel ha'ilami, the worthlessness, the futility of this world, that pushes and causes it pushes Yerushalayim out of our minds. It causes us to forget Yerushalayim. We are in an olam gashmi. We live in a temporal, materialistic world, and that's the world that the Ribbono Shel Olam put us in. And we need to eat, and we need to have parnasa. So there are a million things that we have to be isaac in. We have to be busy with meal preparation. We have to be busy with eating. We have to be busy with going out and earning a parnasa and providing for our families. We have to be busy taking the car for an oil change. We have to be busy going and buying shoes for the kids. We have to be busy with all of these things. And guess what? All of these things, when we're busy with them, it pushes out of our mind. The day-to-day busyness pushes out of our mind things like Yerushalayim and Avodas Hashem. When we're in the shoe store, if we don't make an effort to be living a life of Yerushalayim and Avodas Hashem, even when we're in the shoe store, then when we're in the shoe store and we're trying on size 7 and size 8 and size 9 on the kid and arguing with him which one he likes and which one makes sense to buy and which one doesn't, we are not thinking about Avodas Hashem. Now, the truth is, when you reach a certain level, the shoe store is also Avodas Hashem. Buying shoes for your kids is Avodas Hashem. It is. And the decision-making process of what shoes to buy is also Avodas Hashem. There's a lot of ruchniistic decision-making that goes into which shoes you should buy. To some people, it sounds like, yeah, really? Yeah, really. It really is. It really is. What are you training your children? If you go only to buy the trendiest and the fanciest and this, then what are you doing? You're showing them that that's a priority. You're showing them what matters. So you every step of the way in your temporal gashmiistic life, it is all full of ruchnius. But that's not what you see automatically. Automatically, you only recognize the gashmius. I have a sefer over here on the Yesharim from Rabbi Goldberger, the Yeshiva of Telz in Cleveland. It's a beautiful sefer. And he points out over here, he brings down the Rambam in Hilchas Mezuzah. He says, Chayiv Adam lihizar b'mezuzah, a person has to take great care in the mitzvah of mezuzah, mipnei shehi chayvas hakol tamid, it's an obligation on everyone at all times, the chol eis sheikanes v'yetzei, and every time you come in to a room or leave a room, yipaga b'yichud shmai shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you cross that threshold where there's a mezuzah that has Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and you're remembered of the achdus, the singular nature, the uniqueness, the singularity of the Ribbono Shel Olam. The Yizkar Ahavasai, and you will remember the Ribbono Shel Olam's love. The Yeir Mishinasai, and it'll wake you up from your sleep. So a mezuzah, think about that. Every day, wherever we're going, we walk into a room, we walk out of the room, we have Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad on the door to remind us, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem is our God, Hashem Echad, Hashem is one, Hashem is the source of all. He's the source of all bracha. Whatever happens to us, you're going out to work, remember Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. You're going to ask the boss for a raise, it's not in the boss's hands. It's in the real boss's hands. It's in the Ribbono Shel Olam's hands. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, a constant reminder of Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And we need that because, like the Ramchal says, we have to escape the hevel ha'ilami, the temporal, the futility, the nonsense, really, of the day-to-day life, which is not eternal. It's only temporal. We need a wake-up call constantly. We need to see that mezuzah. Otherwise, Yiras Hashem becomes forgotten from us. It could very easily be forgotten and totally vanish from our lives unless we strive to study it and keep it foremost in our minds at all times. Even though we know in our hearts, we know how important these things are, but it will be forgotten from our hearts unless we make the effort to instill it in our hearts and make it a priority. Says the Ramchal, Avas Hashem is also the same way. If we do not put in effort to install Avas Hashem in our hearts, to fix it in our hearts, likvaya, to fix it in place. A kvias mezuzah. When we affix a mezuzah to the wall, we make a bracha shekedishanu b'mitzvayis v'tzivanu likpaya mezuzah, to affix a mezuzah to the wall. If we don't put in effort to affix avas Hashem in our hearts, b'koyach kol ha'imtzayim ha'megiam ha'isanu lozeh, by using all of the imtzayim, all of the methods that help us reach avas Hashem, eich nimtza ois banu. How will it be found within us? Avas Hashem is also not an automatic. What brings you to Avas Hashem? When you spend time realizing everything that the Borei Olam does for you, that brings you to Avas Hashem. You look at it and you say, look at what the Ribbono Shel Olam does for me. Ask yourself right now, look at your life and look at all the good things in your life. Look at all the things in your life that you're happy that you have. Why do you have them? You have them because the Ribbono Shel Olam, in his Hashgacha Pratis, he sent them to you. You have a spouse that you love. The Gemara tells us that Shidduchim is like Kriyas Yamsuf. You didn't get that spouse because of whatever you did or whatever the Shadchan or the Shadchanta did. Whatever, however you found your wife or your husband, it's not Kaichi Vaitzim Yadi. The Ribbono Shel Olam was the one who went ahead of his Mesabes Svivais. The Ribbono Shel Olam set things up in such a way that it should happen. Everything wonderful that you have in your life, you have from the Ribbono Shel Olam. Do you deserve it all? Do you really feel that everything that you have is coming to you? You deserve it all, and yet the Ribbono Shel Olam gives it to you anyway. How many times do you thank the Ribbono Shel Olam for it? Do you thank the Ribbono Shel Olam on a constant basis for all the good that you have in your life? And yet the Ribbono Shel Olam grants it all to you. This is where Avas Hashem comes from. But if you don't think about it, how's it going to happen? May ayin yavai hadevekus v'hahislatos b'nafsheisenu ima yisbarach. From where will the devekus, the attachment, the hislatos, and the enthusiasm, b'nafsheisenu ima yisbarach v'im terasai, where will we get this feeling of attachment and enthusiasm with the Ribbono Shel Olam and his Torah HaKadoshah? Where will it come from? Unless we spend time and we turn. The word nisha, if we do not turn, we have to turn away from all of our gashmiistic pursuits and all of our temporal pursuits. We have to turn away and we have to look to find Avas Hashem. We have to see Gedulasai, his greatness, Roimamusai, his exaltedness. Asher yoilid b'libeinu hadevekus hazeh. That will bear fruit in our hearts. That will bring into our hearts the sense and the desire for dvekus, for attachment to the Ribbono Shel Olam and his Torah, and an enthusiasm to have that. I mean, ask yourself, why does somebody love his spouse? Where does that love come from? If somebody never talks to his wife, never spends time with his wife, he's always away on business, he doesn't call her on the phone, he has nothing to do with her, he doesn't recognize her, he doesn't acknowledge all the things that she does for him, why would there be any love? The love comes from spending time together, talking to each other, paying attention to each other, acknowledging what your spouse does for you. That's where love comes from. So if you don't spend time like that with the Ribbono Shel Olam, if you don't recognize what the Ribbono Shel Olam does for you, if you don't pay attention to it, and you don't acknowledge it, and you don't think about it, where is it going to come from? It's not going to come by itself. So again, the Ramchal, he's pleading with us, and he's trying to show us very clearly, you need to study these things. These things don't happen by themselves. They're not going to come into your heart all by themselves. Thank you so much for joining me for Limud HaMusar. The schus of Limud HaTorah and Limud HaMusar should stand Gans Klal Yisrael in good stead. The Ribbono Shel Olam should send Yeshuas and Refuas to those in need. The Ribbono Shel Olam should send Parnasa to those in need. And the Ribbono Shel Olam should send the Bias Gael Tzedek V'Mherav Yameinu. We should still be Zeicha to come into Shuas, maybe to be Eila Regel. If not, so we should come into Shuas with a true Kabbalah HaTorah, a true Nasiv and Nishma, a true giving ourselves over to the Torah HaKadoshah, understanding Asher Bachar Banu Mikal Ha'amim, how we thank the Ribbono Shel Olam that he chose us from all the nations. How did he choose us? He didn't choose us by just calling us a chosen people. He chose us, he gave us a Torah HaKadoshah. He gave us a roadmap for life. During this crisis even, you could look around and see the difference between a Yid, from a Yid that has a Torah HaKadoshah, and how he reacts to the struggles of the times, and how somebody who has an empty life, who doesn't have a Torah, how do they react? So the tremendous thanks we have to the Ribbono Shel Olam for giving us a Kabbalah Torah. We should go to celebrate a true Kabbalah Torah, realize the richness of what we have. Everyone should have a wonderful Yom Tov. Mirza Hashem, see you again after Yom Tov. Be well.